Now agents, you actually already have an upper hand with your consumers because at this point you're already on the conversation of how financially burdened one could become in the event they did have a medical issue. Health insurance is forever changing, especially with health reform. In these days, we find clients buying higher deductible plans to simply have affordability. With that said, if we ever had to use our insurance, many of our clients may not have the money available to satisfy their out-of-pocket exposure. Health insurance is there to protect your clients in the event they get into an accident or have a sickness, and it pays the doctors. Life insurance is there to protect our assets that we leave behind, and it would pay out to the appropriate beneficiary. So now we have to ask, is there a policy that's actually going to pay back to your client? Critical illness coverage is just that. Basically, if your client would get diagnosed with one of the major critical illnesses and it's covered underneath the policy, they will receive a lump sum payout for that illness. Okay, Frankie, we just saved you over $100 by looking at a higher health insurance deductible. At the time being, I was wanting to talk to you about a critical illness policy.
I don't really want another policy. I'm pretty healthy.
You know, I really figured that was the direction we were going to go, and then I was just going to tell you how you needed to show me that time machine that brought you into the future that made sure that you weren't going to be a candidate for cancer. The whole point of me isn't to sell you just another policy, but it's also to make sure that you're going to be well protected at different elements of your life. And right now, you're in the process of wanting to make sure that you're going to be financially secured for, any sort of emergencies that might happen.
Right, but I know I've had some friends that have had cancer, but their health insurance covered that, so isn't that something that my health insurance is just going to cover?
It should, but you know how health insurance is anyway. No, but in all seriousness, health insurance is meant to cover the hospital, ambulance charges, your doctors, medications. It pays other people. It doesn't pay you. These critical illness policies are actually meant to pay back to the client.
How does that work?
It seems kind of weird that an insurance company would want to pay back a client, but the whole idea is that if you were to be struck with one of these critical illnesses, these policies are meant to give you emotional and overall financial flexibility, let's say. So, for example, let's say that you do get a critical illness, and let's say that you do get cancer. Your recovery time can vary greatly. You're dealing with various doctor visits, various follow-ups, treatments that you may not be sure of what you're actually getting or if they'll work, time off work. You're dealing with a dietary change is more than likely. So with all these things lumped in together with what you can anticipate, how are you going to deal with it? And what's going to happen in the event that you can't work for 3-4 months?
I mean, I'd probably have to pull from my savings and maybe move back in with my parents.
Oh, your parents must be super cool then, because awesome. I'm sure that would be the delight for both of you. But I think this is the point of this. If you did get that critical illness and we were able to get you this coverage, if you wanted to do it, you'd get a check.
So I get like a check for like every month that I'm recovering from this, or how does that like?
Nope, it's actually even better. So I ran some proposals, and as you can see here, it literally is a little bit less than $1 a day for $50,000 in coverage for your age range. What'll happen is that if you were to get a critical illness, they would cut you a check for $50,000. End of story.
Not too shabby. So maybe I just get it like a little bit later.
The problem with that, and it's not so much a problem, these supplement policies have one really great benefit that is very different than health insurance. Health insurance, every year we deal with renewals of your policy, right? And different rate changes that may or may not affect you. These supplement policies usually have a locked-in rate. They don't practice rate increases. So right now, it's a little under $1 a day. In 5 years, if you wait for this, it's going to be more than that for the same benefit amount. You're also going to be locked into this price. So in the event you also want to make sure that this is going to be a useful policy for you for a couple bucks extra, we can look at the return of premium option, which basically means that you're going to get your money back if you don't use this policy.
Right on. Let's do it.
Home contents, car, and travel are generally on the priority list of what our clients want to insure. The fact is that many consumers will choose the material over themselves. In the event you do have a client that does suffer a critical illness while they're recovering, would you rather go and give them a get well card, or would you rather tell them that they're going to have a hefty check coming in for whatever sort of living expenses or pretty much anything that they'll need? First Insurance works with a variety of carriers who offer a vast amount of critical illness policies in addition to other living benefits.